It's July 13th. The inflation numbers are out and they're a doozy, over 5% reported once again here in the US. The inflation monster is not stopping. We're going to talk about that and what it means for gold and silver prices in the future. And we're going to talk about a gold play in British Columbia that we're bringing back to the program that we think could be a good potential for your portfolio. Stay tuned for all of the information. We're going to start here with Reuters. US consumer prices surge in June. They rose by the most in 13 years in June amid supply constraints and continued rebound in cost of travel-related services and pandemic depressed levels as the economic recovery gathered momentum. The consumer price index increased 0.9% last month, the largest gain since June 2008. That is the largest gain since right before the last big recession, after advancing 0.6% in May. In the 12 months through June, the CPI jumped 5.4%. So 5.4% year over year, and that's continuing to rise. That was the largest gain since August 2008 and followed a 5% increase in the 12 months through May. Excluding the volatile food and energy components, the CPI accelerated 0.9% after increasing 0.7% in May. So the so-called core CPI surged 4.5% on a year-on-year basis, which we don't pay attention to because unless you're naked running around with a spear hunting bison, you need food and energy. And I'm going to keep saying that over and over. Food and energy are critical to Americans. And so we cannot count those out when we're talking about inflation. Big numbers in the inflation print. We have another story here from CNBC. Surging prices for used cars, gasoline, food, and airfares are driving the jump in inflation. A jump in used car sales as well as car rentals led to increase in overall prices. For the 12-month period, used car truck prices leaped 45.2%, while car and truck rental costs skyrocketed by 87%. That's a lot. And so one of the reasons is people need cars now to get back around to work, but they can't afford new ones, so they're going to the used market. I know I was driving around yesterday, passing through an area which had a lot of used car dealerships, and they were out of cars. I mean, the parking lots were empty. So that's why the prices are going up. There's more demand than there is supply. Price increases in used cars, car rentals, as well as rebound in airfares, lodging, and food are behind the biggest inflation surge since 2008 and the U.S. economy reopened. So yes, rental cars are a big part of it, but a lot of it has to do with food, energy, and other prices, according to all of the data. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, there's a nice chart here. Car and truck rental up 87.7%, used cars and trucks up 45.2%, gasoline 45.1%, fuel oil 44.5%. Remember, we said energy at the beginning of this year would drive inflation. Other motor fuels 32%, propane, kerosene and firewood 17%, moving, storage, and freight expense, public transportation, motor vehicle insurance, so on and so forth. You see jewelry and watches here increased as well. That bodes well for gold and silver, at least the jewelry market. So again, high inflation. Now, we haven't seen a big surge in gold and silver today after that print. We did see a crash in the Dow of about 100 points right afterwards. Gold may take a little while to surge. We may see that tomorrow, but we expect that to be bullish for both gold and silver. We expect the precious metals prices to continue to rise. So wanted to report this out. We've been talking about inflation for months and months and months and how it's going to be beneficial to the precious metals. It's also beneficial to the other investment that we like to talk about on this show all the time, and that our subscribers love for us to talk about as well, and that is the gold producers and the silver producers. So I'm bringing back for a third time Blue Lagoon. I've interviewed Rana Vig before on our channel. I like this company and I want to talk about it again for those investors who like our investment research service. They trade on the OTCQB here in the US under BLAGF. You can see that here. The Canadian Stock Exchange under BLLG. And if you're over in the Frankfurt Stock Exchange, 7BL. So let's talk about what Blue Lagoon is. They have 15 known high-grade gold veins, 20 kilometers of strike, and a permitted gold mine for 75,000 tons. And we're going to get into in a moment how they've actually started processing material that had been left there over time. They have good management. We've talked about that before. Dome Mountain is their big project. They also have the Big Onion, which is a copper porphyry project, and the Pellaire, which is another gold project, all in BC, Canada. You can see that they have about 30,000 hectares of land, and the Dome Mountain is the one they're focusing on now. Not too bad of a share structure here, only 82 million shares out, capitalization $40 million. They have $3 million cash on hand, and we'll talk about, this is before a monetary raise they did here recently. We'll talk about that in a moment. Good management team, Ron Avig, CEO and director, 30 years of business experience, past president, CEO of Musgrove Minerals. Their head geologist is Bill Cronk, well respected in the business, 25 years experience as a geologist and manager of exploration programs and base metal deposits in Africa, Europe, as well as North and South America. So Doe Mountain, like we said, is here in British Columbia in Canada. There are 4 projects that they're working on: Pelair, Doe Mountain, Golden Wonder, and the Big Onion. Doe Mountain being the primary one. Here is the fact sheet on Doe Mountain once again. It's close to Smithers, BC. It's a 50-minute drive. It's near infrastructure. They're not going to have to build a lot of that out. It's also near a mill in which they have an agreement to mill out their gold. They have permits issued by the BC government already, mining permit for 75,000 tons annually, and an Environmental Management Act permit. So for those of you looking for a near-term producer that already has a set of permits, they've got a set of permits, the environmental ones and the mining ones. So they're not going to have to go get those to continue to produce when they're ready. Right now, they're continuing to explore and process some existing rock that's on site that has really good gold per ton ratings, which we'll see here in a moment. This is a high-grade gold, silver, orogenic mesothermal type of gold deposit. This is typical for this area. $28 million has been spent in the last 12 years on permitting and mine development. That's why they're so far along. Previous operators spent an additional $40 million on mine development plus exploration. So there's been $68 million already spent. That $68 million they're not going to have to spend to get this forward to production. And they have some blue sky potential. We'll talk about that because they have a lot of exploration. There's 15 veins. Only one really has been explored a lot. There's 14 others known to exist that they're going to explore. They've got a phase 2 of another drilling program underway. It's going to be 12,000 meters. We'll talk about that here in a minute. There's 20 kilometers of productive gold strike in which they know that there's some level of gold reserves. That's 20 kilometers. If you're looking for something that has a long life and has seen high grade so far in their sampling and drill results, this is a good project in a tier 1 mining district, good management, all of those features. Only the Boulder vein system is relatively explored and drilled to date. Minor exploration over 12 more veins, 15 vein systems have been identified. So here is recent Doe Mountain drill results as reported May 13, 2021. They had 36.7 grams per ton gold and 580 grams per ton silver over a meter. They had 22.8 grams per ton gold and 42 grams per ton over 1.37 meters, and 25.8 grams per ton gold and 74 grams per ton over 1.45 meters. So they're getting really solid drill results up and down. They got the whole results here. You can get on the news release. And here is a nice little graphic of all the places that they're drilling. So they're doing a 20,000 meter drill program, 12,000 meters right now, continuing what they had done last year. You can see all the results here. So they're exploring, releasing these results, and this is bullish for investors who want to be in a near-term gold producing company that's in its exploration stage, already has permits for 75,000 and can get to producing that whenever they have their resource outline, which they're doing right now. Here's another news release. So I talk about kicking off the phase 2 drill program on its Doe Mountain Gold project. It's a continuation of the 20,000 meter drill program announced in January 2021 this year. The phase 2 program is expected to be a minimum of 12,500 meters drilling. They're raising some money to do that. They have some money in the bank. They're raising some more. So they're raising positive capital as they go to continue drilling this out. And as we're going to see in a moment, they're starting to process some leftover rock that hadn't been processed before to help pay for some of this. So they're not just going to issue shares, they're also going to use that rock that they have that agreement with the nearby mill to process. The phase 2 drilling, which starts as of June 14, 2021, begins by targeting geophysical golden soils and high-grade vein targets in the free gold showing. The free gold showing is a particular interest because it's not only includes historically sampled high-grade quartz carbonate veins, but also results from the company's airborne geophysical survey. In other words, they're looking at quartz carbonate and the geophysical survey and targeting those drill holes strategically. They've done a good job of mapping that out. On July 5th, they gave us another piece of news since last time we covered them. They accelerated their drill program, adds a second drill rig at Doe Mountain. They're getting such good results, they're putting another drill rig out there. It's a year-round accessible property, and they announced the start of its 20,000 meter program in January. They're continuing that. A quote here, "Our entire technical team is working very hard on advancing the Doe Mountain Gold projects rapidly as possible," so on and so forth. And they've got the second drill rig out there. So they're going to get more and more and more drill results faster, which is good news for investors that like to get into more near-term companies that are finishing their exploration, already have some development, and eventually will go into production, or maybe they'll get sold out to another company that's interested in the reserves. Here is a news announcement over Toll Mill Partner starts processing Dome Mountain mineralized material. The benefit, when we talked to Rana last time, the CEO, he said, we've got some material there we can use to help put towards exploration costs, and they're doing it. So they are pleased to provide the following update on its gold silver project. The company is pleased to report that the company's toll milling partner, Nicola Mining, started the processing of the mineralized material from its Dome Mountain underground mine. Shipping of the mineralized material, which began on June 14th, has gone smoothly with 15 trucks out, and they've got some good estimations of what they have grams per ton gold. Estimated tons, 100 tons of 11.5 grams, 50 tons of 13.2, 80 tons of 18.9, 1,000 tons of 17.6, and 40 tons, 41.5, and 3,000 tons of between 10 and 12 grams per ton. That is very rich material that they're going to be able to use to put into the kitty so that they can use that to continue to explore. They announced a financing here also, and there's a quote here from Quentin Henney, who's been on our program before, talking about another project. He's a well-respected geologist in the field, many years of experience. He's a technical advisor to Crescat Capital. Crescat Capital is one of these companies that has invested in Blue Lagoon because they believe in the company. And Quentin here says, Blue Lagoon's Dome Mountain project displays characteristics of a certain type of intermediate sulfidation system called a carbonate-based metal gold deposit. Examples of such deposits around the world include the Kilian in Indonesia, Buritica in Colombia, and Highland Valley in Papua New Guinea. Although Dome Mountain has seen virtually no modern exploration, the property hosts a number of high-grade gold veins in places quite closely spaced, such as the Free Gold Target. So in other words, what he's saying here is this is established geology around the world. They know how to go get the gold. They've got really good veins there, according to their rock samples and their drilling programs to date. This was a past producing area, but this is relatively unexplored, meaning most of the gold's still going to be there. When he says this hasn't been touched by modern mining techniques, he means you're going to get high grams per ton gold, because the old guys would get, like kilo gold or half kilo gold from the ground or from the veins, because they were using pickaxes and shovels and things like that. Modern mining techniques take a bunch of it, tons of it, process it, and pull out whatever gold is there. So they're going to have still a lot of high grade gold available, and that's going to be very positive for the project. So I wanted to bring Blue Lagoon back, but this is the third time we touched on them. Everything, when I talked to Ron, they said that they were going to do this year, that the CEO said they have done. They have performed exactly to expectations. Rana has recently added 1 million more shares to his personal portfolio. He controls 5% of the company, and the insider controlling groups control 20% of shares. So the insiders and management are fully vested in the company. Again, they have mining permits, environmental permits. They've got copper, they got silver, they got gold, mostly gold, gold and silver. And they've got some great drill results and a 20,000 meter drilling program coming out. And in an era of high inflation like we got today, again, high inflation, 5.4% print today, CPI. We believe inflation's well more towards 12 to 13% real world without all of the government adjustments. What that means is the precious metals prices are going to be more bullish. You're not going to see gold crash back down, to $1,600 an ounce and silver to $22 an ounce when you're having high inflation. More demand for gold. There's going to be more demand for gold, more demand for silver. Bullish for the miners. And so here we bring you a miner, which we think is a very good prospect potentially for a portfolio. Do your own due diligence there, do your own research, but there's a lot of data out that suggests that Blue Lagoon could be a really good target. And remember, they don't have to go through that whole permitting process to start producing. They don't have to go build a mill. This is going to be a lower cost operation when they finally get it all drilled out and explored. So what I would expect for them going forward is lots of drilling, lots of news, and then starting going into some production. And they're using the material they had left over to offset some of the drilling costs, and they're not having to fully dilute through shares. So this is it has a lot of things going for it that are very positive, and that's why I like them. That's why I've now reviewed them a third time. I think it potentially is a good investment. I like them. I'll be participating. You guys might like it too. So I wanted to bring you the quick note on inflation and tell you, what is happening. We've been previewing this now for the past week in a lot of videos, and I wanted to talk about Blue Lagoon. It was Blue Lagoon. It was time to bring them back out and talk about them again amidst all the inflation talk and what we know is going to happen to gold and silver going forward. Till next time, guys, this is Rob Keens with Gold Silver Pros.